The night was cold and still. The human base rose from the snow like a square metal mountain. Searchlights swept across the sky. Inside the walls, a single woman walked with quick, sure steps. Her name was Rhea. She was a commander, a soldier built by war and duty. She stopped at a heavy steel door. Red letters glowed on the panel beside it. Classified access. Rhea pressed her wrist chip to the lock. The door opened with a hiss. White light spilled out. Inside, 3 officers waited around a narrow table. General Mara stood at the head. Her grey hair was tied back, her eyes dull with lack of sleep. "Commander Rhea, this meeting never happened," she said. "You will not record it. You will not speak of it when it is done. Do you understand?" Rhea lifted her chin. "Yes, General." Her voice was calm. She felt no fear, only the clear, sharp focus she knew so well. On the table lay a small case of black glass. Thin blue lines of energy crawled over its surface like tiny rivers. Rhea could feel a strange chill coming from it, even though it did not move. General Mara placed one hand on the case. "Inside this box is the reason our war continues," she said. "2 days ago, the stolen egg of the Dragon Queen hatched in our lab. The creature inside is a royal hatchling. Our scientists say its fire will grow stronger than any dragon before it. If the dragons take it back, they will crush our cities in a single storm of flame." Rhea listened in silence. Dragons had burned her town when she was a child. She still woke at night with the echo of her brother's voice in her ears. A weapon must be broken before the enemy can raise it. That rule had shaped her whole life. "Your orders are simple," Mara said. "You will go to Lab Zero beneath this base. You will enter the secure chamber. You will end the hatchling's life, quickly and cleanly. The body will be dust before anyone else can see it. No one outside this room must ever know it lived." Rhea gave a short nod. She felt a slow heat in her chest, not from guilt, but from old rage. In her mind, she pictured a small dragon, soft, helpless, and deadly. There was no room in war for soft hearts. You cut the seed before it can grow thorns, she told herself. Colonel Vark stepped closer. His thin lips curled in a cold smile. "If you fail, Commander," he said, "the Dragon Queen will reclaim her child. She will see our weakness and come herself. Our worlds will burn. Do not let that happen. I will not fail," Rhea answered. Her words were flat and final like a sealed door. Mara pointed toward the hallway. "Lab Zero is deep under this base. Use the old service lift at the far end. Your wrist chip now holds the codes. The hatchling is alone. The science team has cleared the room. They say it is small but clever. Do not listen to it. Do not let it slow your hand." Rhea stepped forward and lifted the black glass case. It felt heavier than it looked, as if unseen hands pulled it down. She turned, without another word, and walked out. The door closed behind her with a hard hiss. The corridor outside was empty. Her boots hit the floor in a steady rhythm. The distant hum of machines filled the air. Rhea rode the service lift alone. The cabin shook as it sank under the base. A flat voice in the speaker named each level: storage, weapons, research, then finally Lab Zero. The doors opened to a tunnel of blue lights. The air smelled of metal. Rhea walked forward. One hand rested on the pistol at her hip. Her orders beat in her mind like a drum. "Enter the chamber, kill the hatchling, leave no trace." At the end of the tunnel stood a smooth white door. A single scanner light watched her. Rhea raised her wrist. The chip buzzed. The light turned green. The door slid open. Inside, the lab was quiet. Rows of empty workstations lined the walls. In the center of the room stood a clear pod, cables running into its sides. The pod glowed with a soft golden light. Rhea set down her gear. Her fingers brushed the burn scar on her palm. She drew her pistol and moved toward the pod. Her steps echoed in the empty room. She was ready for a monster. She was ready for teeth and claws and rage. She was not ready for what she saw. Inside the pod lay a tiny dragon, no bigger than a house cat. Its scales were pale gold. Its wings were folded close, like a sleeping bird. Metal clamps pinned its legs and tail. Red marks burned around the restraints. Its eyes were closed. Its chest rose and fell in thin, shaking breaths. Rhea stared at it. Her hand did not shake, but something inside her did. "This is a threat," she told herself. "This is the child of the enemy queen. If it lives, thousands die." She raised the pistol. The targeting light found the small space between the hatchling's eyes. One squeeze, one flash, and the war might tilt in human favor. The dragon opened its eyes. They were not burning, not full of hate, they were wide and afraid. For a moment, Rhea saw not a weapon but a child. Her finger tightened on the trigger. Please. The word was only a breath, a soft sound in the still lab. Rhea froze. The pistol stayed pointed at the dragon's head. Had she imagined it? The hatchling's throat moved. Its small jaws shook. Please, do not burn me again. The voice was real, high and rough, like a child learning to speak. The words were human words. Rhea stepped closer. How do you know our language? She asked. Her voice came out low. The hatchling blinked. Tiny tears slid from the corners of its eyes. They put voices in my head, it whispered. They wanted me to answer questions. They hurt me when I spoke wrong. Rhea looked at the red marks around the clamps. The pattern of the burns was too clean for dragonfire, too straight for claws. She had seen wounds like that before on human prisoners, on broken machines tested to the edge. Who did this? She asked, though she already knew. Humans, the baby said, but its voice held only fear. They took me from my mother. She screamed for me. Then there was dark and cold and bright knives. They said they would make me useful. They said my fire would feed their skyships. The room seemed to tilt. Rhea lowered the pistol a little. Her orders pressed against her mind. Yet now they felt wrong. What is your name? She asked. The hatchling hesitated, as if the name itself might be dangerous. My mother called me Lumi, it whispered. In our tongue it means small light, Rhea repeated inside her mind. She did not say it aloud. It felt like a fragile secret. Lumi watched her with shaking eyes. Will you hurt me too? It asked. Rhea looked at the weapon in her hand, at the clamps, at the empty lab. She thought of the colonel's cold smile, of General Mara's tired stare, of her village burning long ago. Her finger eased away from the trigger. No, she said. Not yet. Far above them, an alarm began to beep, slow and distant, like a heart waking. The alarm grew louder, slow at first, then faster, like metal footsteps in the dark. Rhea spun toward the door, her pistol tight in her grip. The baby dragon Lumi flinched inside the pod, its small wings shaking with fear. Rhea whispered, Quiet now. Stay still. She stepped to the control panel beside the pod. Her fingers moved fast. She had never disabled a lab's security before, but soldier training made her hands steady. Sparks jumped as she cut the power lines. The clamps around Lumi loosened with a soft click. The dragon gasped as its tiny limbs finally moved freely. It crawled a little, slow and weak. Rhea scooped it up with one arm, surprised at how light it was. It felt warm and soft, not like a weapon but like a frightened child. The lab lights flickered red. The voice of the base AI echoed through the chamber. Security breach detected. All officers report to Lab Zero immediately. Rhea's heart kicked harder. She had only seconds before someone came. She wrapped Lumi in her cloak and stepped toward the exit, but the door slid open before she reached it. Colonel Vark walked in first. Tall and sharp like a knife. 2 armored guards flanked him, rifles raised. His gaze moved slowly across the room, landing on the open pod, the cut wires, the missing dragon, Commander Rhea. His voice was cold enough to freeze breath. Why is the pod empty? Rhea kept her face blank. Her training told her to stay calm, she said. The hatchling was moved to the upper chamber, orders from General Mara. She told me to clear the room. Vark studied her eyes, his own narrowing. Strange, he said. I spoke to the general only minutes ago. She said nothing about moving the creature. Inside Rhea's cloak, Lumi trembled, its small claws pressing against her side. Rhea held her breath. She could feel the dragon's heartbeat racing. The colonel took a long step closer. I do not like lies, Commander. He raised his hand, signaling the guards. Search the room. The guards moved fast, checking corners, scanning machines, opening storage doors. Rhea shifted slightly, keeping her cloak tight. The dragon's body heat burned against her ribs. One guard reached for her cloak. Before he touched it, the alarm changed tone. A deep horn blast filled the air, unlike the smaller lab alerts. This one echoed through the whole base, unauthorized access in Airlock 6. All units respond. The guard froze, Colonel Vark's head snapped toward the door, his brow tightened. He turned to his men. Go, check the airlock. I want answers now. The guards rushed out of the lab, their heavy boots thundered down the hall. Only Vark remained, watching Rhea with eyes like stone. He stepped closer again, slow and careful, as if he smelled the truth under her cloak. Commander, he said softly. If you are hiding something, tell me now. The hatchling is not a pet, it is not a child. It is a weapon, one that must die before it grows teeth. Rhea kept her shoulders still, her voice steady. I follow orders, Colonel. Nothing more. Vark leaned in, his breath touched her ear. Then hear this order from me. If the creature is not destroyed by nightfall, I will burn this entire level until only ash is left, even if you are inside it. He stepped back and walked toward the door. But just before leaving, he looked over his shoulder and said, The truth always bleeds through cracks, Commander, and you are full of cracks. The door slid shut behind him. The instant it sealed, Rhea let out a breath she did not know she was holding. Lumi poked its tiny head from her cloak, its eyes wide. He knows, Lumi whispered. Not yet, Rhea said, but he will, unless we move. She hurried down the hall, the cloak tight around the baby dragon. The sirens echoed through the base. Soldiers shouted orders in the distance. Drums of boots shook the floor. Rhea reached the old service tunnel, a narrow hallway barely used. She swiped her wrist chip, but the door stayed red. Access locked, security override active. She hit the panel, sparks jumping from the wires. The base was in full alert mode. Doors would not open easily. Behind her, footsteps grew louder, more soldiers approaching. Lumi pressed its small body against her chest. Rhea aimed her pistol at the control box and fired. The box burst open, smoke filling the hall. The door slid halfway, jammed but open enough to squeeze through. She pushed inside, pulling Lumi with her. The door slammed shut behind them, sealing them in darkness. Rhea whispered, We are running now, little one, and we cannot stop. The base has turned against us, and soon every soldier inside it will come for you, and for me. The tunnel ahead was long, cold, and full of shadows, and Rhea knew one thing for sure. The real hunt had just begun. The old service tunnel stretched ahead like the throat of a giant machine. Dark pipes lined the ceiling, dripping cold water that echoed through the narrow space. Rhea moved fast, her boots striking the metal floor in sharp beats. She kept Lumi wrapped inside her cloak, close to her chest. Behind her, alarms shook the air, soldiers' voices filled the base above them. The whole building was alive with noise and fear, but down here in this forgotten passage, everything felt tight and suffocating, Lumi whispered. Rhea, they will find us. They can smell my fire. Rhea kept running. Not if we get out first. Not if we reach the forest. Once we're outside, heat signatures will mix with the trees, the smoke, the cold. Everything will confuse the scanners. The tunnel turned, descending steeper. The lights flickered, and then went dark completely. Rhea slowed, one hand on the wall to guide herself. A soft glow rose from her cloak. Lumi's scales shimmered with a faint gold light, enough to paint the walls in warm color. Rhea looked down. Keep it dim, little one. Drones can detect even small heat spikes. Lumi nodded, trying to dim its glow, but tiny sparks kept slipping through its scales like frightened fireflies. The baby dragon was tired, hurt, and scared. Up ahead, a heavy metal hatch blocked the path. It was old, marked with rust and thick bolts. Above it, the faded letters read, Emergency exit, surface level. Rhea placed Lumi on the ground for a moment. She grabbed the wheel lock on the door and twisted. Metal groaned, resisting her grip. She twisted harder, her muscles burning. Finally, the wheel turned. The hatch opened with a heavy gasp of cold air. A blast of wind rushed in, tasting like snow and pine. Rhea pulled the hatch wide, revealing the outside world for the first time since the mission began. Night covered the land. A thick forest stretched beyond the base, tall black trees rising like silent guards. Fog curled around their roots. The moonlight spilled through in thin silver beams. Rhea lifted Lumi again, tucked it under her cloak, and stepped out. Her boots crunched on the frosted dirt. She pushed the hatch closed behind her, sealing the tunnel. For a few seconds, there was peace. Silence wrapped the forest. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then a mechanical hum broke the stillness. Rhea looked up. A drone flew above the treetops, its blue lights sweeping the ground like hungry eyes. "It's searching for us," she whispered. "Stay still, Lumi. Don't breathe too loud." Lumi curled itself tight against her chest, holding its breath until it trembled. Rhea pressed herself against a tree, the rough bark digging into her back. The drone hummed closer, scanning beams slicing through branches. The blue light passed near her feet. Lumi whimpered softly, a tiny sound like a leaf crushed underfoot. The drone's lights paused, shifted, turned back toward their position. Rhea's heart slammed in her chest. She knew the next second could end everything. Lumi whispered, "I can hide us, but it will hurt me." Rhea didn't hesitate. "Do it, little one, your life matters more than comfort." The hatchling closed its eyes. Its golden scales dimmed, turning almost grey. A soft mist rolled out from its wings, thin as smoke, but cold as winter breath. The mist spread around them, covering the tree trunk, the ground, even Rhea's body. It chilled her skin like frostbite. She bit her teeth to keep from gasping. Above them, the drone's blue scanning light brushed the mist, glitched, flickered, and then shifted away. The machine hovered for a moment longer, confused. Then it veered to the left and flew deeper into the forest, hunting elsewhere. Lumi collapsed in Rhea's arms, its small body cold and shaking. Rhea wrapped the cloak around it and whispered, "You did well. You saved us." But she saw the truth. The mist had cost the young dragon too much. Its breath was weak, its heartbeat slower. "We need shelter," Rhea told herself. Something warm, safe, hidden. She scanned the forest and spotted a low rock formation covered in moss, half buried in snow. She carried Lumi to it and pushed aside the heavy vines, revealing a shallow cave just big enough for a human and a small dragon. She slipped inside, settling Lumi on her lap. Outside, the forest groaned as another drone passed overhead, lights sweeping, searching, hunting. Rhea stroked Lumi's head gently. "Stay awake, little one. Talk to me. Don't fade." Lumi opened one eye. Its voice was soft. "I am sorry, Rhea. I am slowing you down." Rhea shook her head. "No, you are the reason I keep moving. You are the reason I will fight my own army if I must." The dragon blinked in surprise. "You would fight humans for me." Rhea looked toward the cave mouth, watching the passing drones, her jaw tight, her eyes sharp. "For you," she whispered. "I already have." Outside, more drones arrived. Soldiers spread through the forest, torches and scanners in hand. The net was closing, the hunt was intensifying, and Rhea knew one thing with cold certainty. They were no longer escaping. They were being hunted, deliberately, relentlessly. And someone inside the base had triggered the chase far too quickly. Someone wanted her dead before she could reach the Dragon Queen. The forest burned with danger, and the night had only just begun. The night deepened, and the forest grew colder. The cave where Rhea hid with Lumi felt small and fragile, like a bubble waiting to burst. Outside, the distant hum of drones echoed through the trees, mixed with the harsh shouts of soldiers pushing deeper into the woods. Rhea listened carefully, counting the voices, tracking their distance. "They are spreading out faster than before," she whispered. "Their formation is too tight, too organized. This is not a normal search. This is a hunt." Lumi lifted its head weakly, its golden eyes dim. "They want me badly, Rhea. They will not stop." Rhea brushed dust from its wings, then froze when she heard something new. Not metal footsteps, not drones, but a low rumbling sound rolling across the treetops. A deep dragon roar. Lumi stiffened. Its whole body trembled. "That is one of my mother's scouts. They are close, Rhea. Very close." Rhea swallowed hard. Humans behind them, dragons ahead of them. Both groups searching for the same small creature she held in her arms. And neither side wanted peace. She stood, lifting Lumi gently. "We need to move. If the human hunters reach this cave first, they will kill you. If the dragon scouts arrive first, they will kill me, and if both arrive together, there will be a war right here." They stepped out into the cold night. The forest looked different now. Shadows shifted, branches creaked under heavy wind. Smoke drifted between the trees. Something was burning in the distance. Rhea crouched low. "It's not human fire," she whispered. "Dragon fire burns hotter, brighter. That means the dragons are already attacking the search parties. Suddenly, a bright orange glow exploded in the sky above the treetops. A blast of flame lit the forest, followed by screams of human soldiers. Lumi clung to Rhea's cloak. They have found the humans, Rhea. They are angry. They will burn everything to find me. Rhea's heart hammered. She ran deeper into the forest, weaving between thick trees, jumping over roots and fallen logs. She could feel heat rising behind her, the fire spreading fast. Ahead of her, snow cracked, branches snapped, something heavy landed nearby. Rhea slid behind a boulder, pressing Lumi close. A shadow passed over them, huge and winged. A dragon scout landed only a few meters away. It was enormous, dark red scales, long curved horns, eyes glowing like burning coal. Smoke curled from its nose as it sniffed the air, searching. Its voice rumbled through the trees. The Queen's child is near. I smell royal flame. Find the hatchling. Kill the human who took it. Rhea held her breath. Lumi buried its face in her chest. The scout stepped closer, claws sinking deep into the frozen earth. A sudden explosion sounded behind the dragon, a grenade from the human soldiers. The dragon roared, whipping around, unleashing fire so bright it turned the snow into steam. Rhea didn't wait. Move, she whispered, and sprinted through the smoke. Lumi bounced against her chest as she dodged through the trees. Every sound behind her was chaos, metal clashing with claws, men screaming, fire ripping through branches. She slid down a slope, landing near a frozen river. Thin ice stretched across the surface, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Rhea tested it with her boot. It might hold for a few seconds, but not long. She looked back. Flames cut through the trees. A drone zoomed low, scanning the ground. Behind it came soldiers with rifles raised, and behind them, the dragon scout burst through the fire, wings spread wide. Both sides saw her at the same time. Both sides charged. Rhea grabbed Lumi tighter and ran onto the ice. The surface groaned under her weight, cracks spreading like lightning. Cold air bit her skin as she slid forward. Each step felt like a gamble between life and death. The human soldiers reached the riverbank, aiming at Rhea, their voices sharp. There she is! Take her down! The dragon scout landed at the edge, steam blasting from its jaws. The hatchling is with the human. Kill her! Take the young one! Rhea listened to neither side. She ran straight toward a cluster of rocks near the far bank. The ice snapped beneath her, dropping into freezing water. She gasped as the cold grabbed her legs, but she kept Lumi above the water. Come on! Rhea groaned, pushing through the crack, reaching the other side. The soldiers shouted, firing warning shots that shattered the ice. The dragon roared and unleashed fire, boiling the river's surface. Rhea scrambled onto the far bank, breathless, freezing, terrified. Lumi looked up at her with wide eyes. Rhea, both sides want us dead. What do we do? Rhea stared into the burning forest, into the darkness that hid the Dragon Queen's land. She felt fear, but she also felt something stronger. Purpose. We keep going, she said, voice sharp. We go to your mother, Lumi. We go to the Queen herself. And we pray she listens before either side burns the world down. Behind them, fire and gunshots tore through the night. Ahead of them lay only danger and shadows. But Rhea knew now this was no longer escape. This was destiny for both human and dragon kind, and it had already begun. The wind grew colder as Rhea and Lumi left the frozen river behind. The forest around them thinned until the trees stood far apart, dark shapes against a silver sky. Cold air cut through Rhea's wet clothes, but she kept walking, carrying the small dragon close to her chest. Lumi lifted his head weakly, his breath warm against her neck. Are we close? He whispered. Close to what? Rhea asked. To the border, Lumi breathed. The place where humans end and dragons begin. Rhea had heard stories from soldiers. They called this zone the Silent Border, a place of ruins and old broken stones, where nothing truly lived, where machines failed and patrols vanished without sound. As they walked, the air began to feel heavier. A strange pressure surrounded them, making Rhea's skin prickle as if someone she could not see was watching her movements. They climbed a short ridge and reached the top. Rhea stopped, staring at the land ahead. The forest ended suddenly, replaced by a wide field of cracked stone, scattered bones and half-buried walls. A massive tower stump rose from the center, melted long ago by a fire too powerful for humans to understand. Lumi gazed at it with sad eyes. "This was once a place of peace," he whispered. "Humans and dragons tried to make a treaty here, but it failed, and fire swallowed everything." Rhea felt the weight of history pressing on her shoulders. The air smelled like ash, even after so many years. She started walking again. "We are in no man's land now," she said softly. "If humans find us here, they will shoot. If dragons find us here, they will burn first and ask questions later." Lumi pressed against her chest. "Not all dragons act like soldiers," he said. "My mother listens. When she is calm." Rhea gave a short, tired breath. "Let us hope she is calm when she sees me holding you, little one." She stepped onto the cracked stone field. At that moment, the wind stopped completely, as if the world held its breath. The silence turned thick, heavy, almost alive. A deep hum rose in the air, too low for human ears, but Rhea felt it in her bones like a distant quake. Lumi's scales flickered with golden sparks. "They are here," he whispered. A shadow swept across the field, then another. Rhea looked up, her heart slammed against her ribs. Shapes moved through the clouds, enormous wings cutting across the moonlight. 5 dragons descended from the sky in a tightening circle. Their scales glowed red, bronze, and blue in the night air. They landed around Rhea, each impact shaking the cracked ground. Trapping her inside their ring, Rhea did not run. There was nowhere to go. Her legs trembled, but she stood tall with Lumi in her arms. The largest dragon stepped forward, a giant with iron-black horns and deep red scales. His voice rumbled like a bruised thundercloud. "Human, you stand on the burned treaty ground with the Queen's hatchling in your arms. Give him to us, and your end may be quick," Lumi cried out. "No, wait, Korvath!" The giant dragon froze. His jaws stopped mid-snarl. He lowered his head slightly, staring at the small, trembling hatchling. "You know my name?" Shumi nodded. "Mother spoke of you. She said you are loyal but stubborn." Some of the tension faded from Korvath's eyes, but only a little. "If the hatchling speaks for you, human, it buys you 1 breath more. But answer this, why does he smell of fear and human blood?" Rhea steadied her breath. "Humans took him first," she said. "They chained him in a lab. They cut him, tested him, planned to use him as a living power core. I was sent to kill him." Angry growls rose from the circle of dragons. Wings opened, claws scraped stone, heat filled the air. Korvath leaned closer. "And yet he lives. He is in your arms." "Why, because I disobeyed," Rhea said, looking straight into his burning eyes. "Because I saw a child, not a weapon. Because I am tired of being told to kill in the name of lies." Silence fell again, heavy as stone. Then the sky lit with gold. A roar older than any human kingdom ripped through the air. Flames rolled through the clouds like a storm of light. Lumi whispered, "She is here. Mother is here." A giant shadow dropped from the heavens. The Dragon Queen descended with wings so wide they darkened the entire field. Her scales burned like living sunlight, streaked with molten red. Her eyes glowed like twin suns staring straight into Rhea's soul. She landed so close that the ground split under her weight. Heat rushed over Rhea in waves. The Queen lowered her colossal head until her blazing eyes filled Rhea's entire world. "Human," the Queen thundered, "you hold my child! Give me one reason not to crush you where you stand!" Rhea stood, frozen, as the Dragon Queen's blazing eyes filled her vision. Heat rolled from the Queen's scales like a living firestorm. The air burned against Rhea's skin, yet she did not step back. She held Lumi close, her arms steady, though her heartbeat thundered inside her chest. The dragons around them formed a circle, their wings half open, ready to attack, ready to kill. Their growls vibrated through the cracked battlefield. The Dragon Queen lowered her head, her voice rolling like a volcano waking after centuries. "Human, speak your last words. Why is my child in your arms? Why does he smell of human machines and fear?" Rhea swallowed hard, her throat dry. She slowly lowered Lumi to the ground but kept one protective hand on the hatchling's back. "Your child was taken from you by humans," she said. "He was locked in a lab, hurt, tested, treated like fuel. They wanted to use him to power weapons. I was sent to kill him before you found out, but I refused. I chose to protect him." A gasp rose from the dragons, shocked that a human dared admit betrayal of her own army. The queen's eyes brightened dangerously. Flames cracked between her teeth. "If you lie, human, you will burn so completely your bones will become ash on the wind." Lumi stepped forward on shaking legs. "Mother, she is telling the truth. The humans hurt me. They placed fire cables inside my wings. They forced voices into my head. They said if I did not speak like them, they would cut away my flame." The Dragon Queen's body went still, terrifyingly still. The battlefield trembled as her breath deepened, not in anger, but in pain. Her massive tail curled close to her body, a dragon's ancient sign of grieving. She lowered her head to her child, touching Lumi's forehead with her own, soft and gentle despite her size. "My small light, my Lumi. I flew across the sky searching for you. My heart broke each time I did not hear your cry." Then the queen lifted her gaze again, locking on Rhea. "If what you say is true, then humans have crossed a line even dragons never dared cross. They took a child, they broke sacred law. For that I should destroy every city, every fortress, every soldier." Rhea stepped forward, her voice steady even as her legs trembled. "Then destroy the ones responsible, not everyone. Dragon Queen, I saw the truth only because I was sent to kill your child. But I disobeyed their orders. I chose your hatchling over my own commanders. Humans like Colonel Vark do not represent all of us," Korvath growled. "Humans have broken our laws for years. Why believe a single soldier now?" Rhea faced him without fear. "Because I chose to fight my own army to protect a dragon child," she said. "Because I ran from every soldier I served with. Because I had the weapon in my hand and could have ended Lumi in one heartbeat. But I didn't. I saw a child, not an enemy." The queen studied her closely, her eyes narrowing. "You risked your life for one who should be your enemy." Rhea took a slow breath. "Because I'm tired of lies, tired of being told dragons are monsters." I looked into Lumi's eyes and saw fear, not hatred. I saw someone who needed help, and for the first time I understood this war is built on stories, not truth. The queen's enormous wings shifted, stirring dust into the air. For a moment Rhea thought the queen might attack, but then Lumi stepped between them. His tiny wings spread, his voice shaking. "But brave mother," he whispered. "Rhea is my protector. She saved me again and again. She carried me through fire and ice. She held me when I was scared. She is not our enemy. She is my human." Silence fell so deep, it felt like the world paused to listen. Finally, the Dragon Queen bowed her great head toward Rhea, a gesture no human had ever earned. "You have shown honor rare in your kind, human warrior. The flames of my heart recognize your courage. You may stand under my sky without fear." The dragons around them loosened their wings, no longer ready to attack. But the queen was not finished. Her voice grew stronger, carrying across the cracked battlefield like a storm breaking. "This war ends today. I will burn the ones who stole my child, but I will not burn the innocent, Rhea. You will walk with us as witness. You will lead us to the humans who ordered my hatchling's suffering." Rhea nodded slowly. "I will, and I will speak the truth of what I saw, no matter the cost." The queen lowered one wing, offering Rhea a place at her side. Lumi climbed onto Rhea's shoulder, nuzzling her cheek with tiny warmth. "You are safe with us now." Rhea felt something new rise in her chest, not fear, not anger, something like purpose. For the first time, human and dragon stood not as enemies, but as allies above them. Dawn's first light began to break, washing the dead treaty ground in gold. A new chapter had begun, written by courage, truth, and a stolen hatchling who whispered his way into a human heart.